All right, it's 6 o'clock. I call this meeting to order. Please rise and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let the roll call show all board members are present. And our next item is going to be our referendum presentation.
Your board members and guests that are in the crowd. So a couple things. This is going to be a repetitive for a lot of you because you've seen this before, but we really want to have this on video from our board meeting so that we can put that out to the community and they can see the presentation at any time they would like to. So to begin with, yes, we have a referendum on May 12th. I think many of you are aware of that. It is a real similar, almost exact referendum as we had from last fall. The only difference is that because of interest rates, the construction costs, inflation went up. Interest rates, I should say inflation. And so instead of 49 million, it's at 51 million. And the other thing is we had one more year that we paid off the debt for our primary school. So that one more year off the debt means that that's less money on our taxpayers for this 20-year loan. So instead of it being a $15 on the average home increase for taxation, it would be $14. So it's down by $1. So I'll go through the presentation. I'll go through this pretty quickly because it's repetitive to a lot of people, but I also want to make sure we talk about each important part of it. So to start out with, there is a video, it's about 2 minutes, that really explains exactly what's happening with this referendum. It's a similar video to what you might have seen last fall. I'll play. And that video really summarizes, what we have for this referendum. Um, and, like I said, it looks real familiar to last time around in the fall, but the need hasn't gone away. The need is still there. If you walk into those buildings and go through and look at the classrooms, it's pretty incredible. I know we have one of our CT teachers here tonight, but he could tell you, Ray could tell you that what he has to live through every day because of how crammed it is and how the spaces are. One of the things I'd say that I was really intrigued by, we had a middle school a musical last Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday, and the director for the musical is also a speech coach. And she mentioned how she goes out with her speech team across to many high schools in the state. And she made the statement, by far, the worst classroom she walks into in her competitions for speech are at Princeton High School. We don't compare to any high school that we are out there. Our high school classes are small, they're run down and undersized. So we know that that is happening. We can get this to work. There we go. And so we want to make sure that's taken care of through this referendum. We have done a great job in this district of making sure our curriculum's up to date. We make sure that our teachers are doing their best at teaching our students. Our students do a wonderful job, but our facilities do not match that quality of instruction and learning that our students have. We have career academies now. It helps our students determine which career they might want to go into. But again, our facilities don't match the learning that's needed to learn in those career academies. We know that this referendum is pretty much the same as last time, except for the 51.35 million instead of 49 million. It is needed to replace those facilities we talked about. One of the things that people might have overlooked a little bit last fall when we were looking at this is the tech levy of the 750,000 a year for 10 years. That is to help us with all of our tech costs to our district. And right now we have a little over $1 million that we pay out for leases and equipment and some of the support staff and so on that we have for tech needs. Well, if we were to get that 750,000, that would help take care of those expenses so that our operating costs would be able to be a little more stabilized. We know that our fund balance is at a point where there's not too much time we can draw on that anymore. So if we can't draw on the fund balances, that means larger cuts, that means larger class sizes, and it impacts our district in a really negative way without having something like the 750,000 per year for 10 years. So that's just as important as the facilities. And I don't know if we emphasized that enough last time. How did we get here? Well, we know the referendum didn't pass last fall. We knew that we have these facilities that are still needed. They're not going away. We know that this is when you look at school property, that's really the taxpayers' property. And the only way to get $50 million of work done is to ask taxpayers from your school district to help you go out for a bond or approve a bond so that we can actually have that kind of money to make those kind of large improvements. So that's why we're back here asking again, because those facility needs do not go away until somehow we fix them or we don't have those facilities anymore and don't have those programs. So it's going to be the taxpayers that determine if we can continue what we have. Our challenges, we know that we talked about the facilities. The facilities are run down. They're undersized, they're poor ventilated. We have overcrowding in it. We have asbestos walls. A lot of inadequate lighting. It's a tough learning environment. That bottom right picture, every new try when I go to a wood shop class and watch them, they're in line to cut their wood. And sometimes it takes the whole period to get that wood cut because we can only have one table saw in there because our facilities aren't big enough. And we have donation from our community that wants to help us with this, but we can't accept those donations because we don't have facilities to put them in because there's not enough room. So this is a strong need for our school district. We know our healthcare education program, we have to send anybody that wants a certified nursing assistant certificate, they need to go to Malacca right now. And we can only send 5 per try. We have over 30 to 40 students that want it every year, but we only take care of 15. So this would help us have the facilities for that. The culinary education is one of the fastest growing passions for kids. We're still teaching and cooking on facilities and appliances that are from 1970s for their appliances, so they're outdated. They would not be preparing them for the culinary arts that they would be going into. Aging classrooms. This one always kind of, when I go through the high school, it just, I marvel at how great our kids are when they can sit that close to a classmate for a full period and not have the wiggles. I mean, I would want to be elbowing somebody next to me. I know kids that are doing that, they do it every day and they made it work. Our science labs, we have some science labs that we have. They do the lab in the classroom, but they can't wash their hands because there's no sink, so they have to go find a room that has a sink to wash their hands. I mean, it's just so antiquated and outdated for what we need it for. We talked a little bit about the tech levy and why it's so important. We do have tech costs, and if anybody's watching the market right now, tech costs are not going down. They are going up, and it's a concern for our budget. So this would help us be able to continue to maintain our curriculum. And I say our curriculum because most of our curriculum is on the technology our students are using because they have a one-to-one device. Building infrastructure, we know that there's some of our infrastructure way outdated. The boiler, 1964 boiler, been welded, put together, duct tape and baling wire, whatever it takes to make this thing work, right? That is at its end of its life. We know it has to be replaced, and that's costing millions of dollars, which would come out of this bond. We know that our stairwell and hallways and our locker rooms down in the dungeon, I call it, down in the basement, are way old, outdated, and not at the right size for the population we have at that school. We know that our middle school roof continues to leak every rain. And teachers and students get just used to putting their waste cans out and buckets out every time it rains. That's not how you should have a roof in a school. So we know we need that replaced. So that all becomes part of the bill, the bond that we're talking about. And speaking of the room sizes are small for MDE standards. In a high school, you should have about 1,100 square feet in a high school classroom. And we're running some classrooms at 650 to 750 square feet, which means everybody crams in a little tighter, a little tighter, a little tighter. We know because of our budget, we have to have larger class sizes because the state has not kept up with the operating cost budget. So we haven't went to taxpayers for an operating levy. There's no voter approved operating levy, which we're one of about 30 schools in the state that have that. So we're really underfunded for the operating cost. And so there we have to have larger class sizes than we'd like, but they can't fit into the classrooms. If we have to go into a budget year where we don't have that 750 to take care of the tech levy, we're looking at the potential of putting stand-up desks in classrooms just because to fit the kids in there. Because we can't fit normal desks in to get to the larger class sizes that we'll need to match the budget with our operating costs. So a lot of impacts to this referendum if it doesn't pass. So if it's approved, we can take care of all those things. We can take care of the infrastructure. We can take care of the undersized classrooms. We can take care of the CT areas that are way outdated. We can have funds for technology that can help us with our operating budget. The facility where we'd be doing most of this construction, it is at the high school level. This is an overview. It's just a conceptual drawing of where this might be. The dark orange is where the new construction would be, and the light orange is where the renovations would be. The renovation is really in the old 1966 classrooms. If we look at this picture, you can see a little better of where those classrooms actually exist. This is the first floor. The blue is new construction. Actually, any hash mark is new construction. The bottom left green box, that's where the pole barns sit right now for the industrial tech. Put up in 1970 to be temporary. they'd be tore down and we'd put new construction there. The other green areas are the CT areas, and the green and the purple would be, it would be renovation at a higher level, where the yellow is more of a light renovation area for our building. This is the upstairs, and this is where a lot of the small classrooms are, so that purple, you'd be knocking down walls and putting lighting into the hallways that doesn't have light come through right now. You have the red boxes, which would widen the stairwells. Again, a light renovation in the yellow, but a little more major renovation in the purple. So you can see with that much renovation, that much work to bring our 1966 classrooms up to 2026, so that they can handle a high school that now has 1,000 students in it, when it used to have in 1966, 500 students. So we've doubled the size. We don't have the size of the classrooms that's needed to handle the population that's there. So this would take care of that. So tax impact, we talked about it. It went down $1 a month on the average home from last fall. And I talked a little bit about how that happens. There is some tax relief out there, and I expressed my to anybody listening that you would want to check that out. There is some tax credits. There's the homestead credit for those that have a household that makes under 140,000. I think it's 142,000 a year now. You would get some tax relief. So go to the tax calculator area of our website. Look around and read about where your tax relief would be, because it does affect a lot of our voters. And it'd be important that you know that it may not be $14 a month increase. It might be less because you get tax relief. Some have asked, how does this finance work? How can $14 an increase on an average home actually pay off 51 million? The bottom right-hand corner of this chart, it's also on our website. If you go to the review and comment from the resource link on our website, there's about a 38-page document that we send to the state that has to be approved for us to go out for this referendum. Gives all the details. It'll give you the detail of what it costs to put in a sidewalk or the upper stairs, stairway, and so on. It breaks it down to almost every little detail. So if you're into details, you can find it in the review and comment, but it also shows this bonding way that we handle bonding our debt. And if you look in the bottom right-hand corner of this chart, in the chart itself, the black square boxes, that's the primary school that was approved back in 2014. It'll be paid off here in about 8 years. You can see what's happening with the blue then. The blue is where we fill up that $14 to get to the higher level of taxation. It's not doubling your tax, it just raises it by that $14 and then a month. And then what happens is, then once we have the primary school bill paid off, we have all that tax base to pay off the remaining 12 years of this bond. So that's where most of the payment will be taken care of for this bond. And that allows us to keep a more neutral taxation on our taxpayers, so that we're not increasing it and doing a yo-yo up and down. Referendum doesn't pass. We talked a little bit about it. We're gonna limit opportunities. Some of our classes, we may not be able to run anymore. We know that the size of our classes are gonna be tough on our students. We know that our career and tech education is gonna be jeopardized. We have to limit how many kids can actually go in there and be in the program. Reduces the access to technology. We may have to lose some of our one-to-one that we have right now, which that's where most of our curriculum lies, is in the devices. Fewer tools for the future. We know that students need to modernize to be ready for the world that they're going to go out and work on and go into college and so on, and careers and career tech eds. We got to be modernized for that. We can't be working with things that are way outdated. And the last thing, like I said before, if we don't have the extra little relief to our operating budget, there will be larger classes and bigger cuts to staff. And that is something that none of us want, but we know that's our realities. So how can you vote? It's already started. March 27th was early voting. I really encourage people, if they're too busy, to go on and find the links on our website. Some of you have been to other presentations. We have this little QR code that you can use to fill out an application for an absentee ballot to be sent to your house. You can vote right from home, send it back. It's a process that's very secure, and it's one that, you need a witness there, and you need to have all your credentials so that you can actually show that you're that person that's voting. But, for those that are extremely busy, this is a way that you can be heard. So we encourage you to do that. I would say if you're gonna, ask for one to be sent to you, you probably wanna count some mailing time, so mail in and mail back out, or mail out and mail back in. It's probably a good week, so you might wanna ask for that early voting absentee ballot by the end of April, so that you can get your vote in by May 12th. Other options is you can come to the district office. We have early voting happening right here. And if you do, I would say download this sheet, which is a sheet that fills out the application for absentee ballot. If not, you fill it out when you get here. But this is the longest part of your time when you come here. If you have it filled out, it probably takes you about 3 minutes to vote and you're done. And that is from 8 to 4 every day except for Wednesdays. We go till 6 p.m. and it's right here in the district office at the right by the family center. So early childhood center. So come there if you want to vote early. If not, you have May 12th and the two precincts. And some have asked, why do you have only two precincts? Some of it's staffing it, some of it's cost. But there's only two precincts. One's at Princeton and one's at Princeton Depot and one's at Baldwin Town Hall. So make sure you look to see where you vote if you decide to vote May 12th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that's the presentation. It's a referendum we knew about from last fall. Some other people have asked why again now. A little bit is the turnout. One, it's the need's not going away. And the need continues to not go away until something like this would happen. The other one is the turnout last time was 22%. So you're less than a quarter of the people are determining the value or the quality of your school moving forward. And actually, if you look at the percent of the people of your taxes, of your 15 people, percent of the 15,000 voters that actually, or the no voters that were more than the yes, was 1,900 no voters. That's 13% of your community is determining your quality of your school moving forward. And I feel like there needs to be a larger percent telling you how you want your school moving forward. So hopefully we're getting this information out to everybody to say vote, vote, and vote, no matter what your vote is. We want to have a bigger voice at this referendum on May 12th. So that's what I have. Any questions from the board? As you can see, it's a high priority for our school district and it's something that without it, we're gonna see a different looking school moving forward. Have a lot of pride in our school. We do a lot of great work, but we're kind of hanging on right now to keep that moving. So we want to make sure we get this so we continue that great work that we do here at Princeton Schools. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Pat. We will move on to citizen comments. Anybody on the sheet back there? Nope. All right, so we will move on then to board member committee reports. And how about if we start with Jen?
Let's see, I attended the middle school musical a couple of times. Finished the school board phase 3 training. Attended the Baldwin open house for the referendum. And then was able to listen in on one of the referendum check-in meetings, the weekly Wednesday meetings.
Thank you, Melissa.
I also attended the musical. It was very well done. Nice work, kids. We have a garage sale for the primary school, for the playground committee for the all-inclusive playground. It is not like an open to the public garage sale, but it's our primary kids and they go in and they bring their quarters and they live their best lives. Garage sailing in the gym. So we are in desperate need of donations for that because they buy everything. I would gladly take them or drop them on. Oh yeah. I mean, it's great. You send them look like a bag, but we do put a limit on, how many things they get. But we need those by Thursday. I know it's a little last minute, but if you have anything and can bring it to me somehow or the primary school, that would be awesome. I did a couple of our communication meetings, staff meeting, Baldwin open house. I got to bring some of my baby chicks to visit the third graders, the Spanish immersion third graders on Sunday last week, and it was so fun. I get to visit some kindergartners when my next batch hatches here soon. Have a problem. Our PTO still needs volunteers, and I have fine.
Thank you. Eric?
I had finance before tonight's meeting.
John?
Agenda planning, I had, resource and training solutions meeting. And one of the things that kind of stuck out with me there is they have a CTE portion now where they'll help get teachers certified in whatever area in the CTE. And they also are giving out grants for equipment. Big Lake got some equipment here in the last month. So I didn't know that they were doing that stuff, so that was kind of interesting. And then the other thing is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, like on Facebook, but Venture Upward, they're really advertising open houses and doing a lot of open houses, and it's fun to see the Princeton online, and so it'll be interesting to see what picks up for the online side.
Scott?
I don't think I have anything new to report.
Okay. Eric?
I also have nothing to report.
Right. I also attended, one of the referendum communication check-ins, the Baldwin open house, agenda planning, and then I was also at finance, before this meeting, so. Student council.
All right, for the preschoolers, I couldn't find anything to report.
For the primary school kindergarteners have a field trip, this week. Some of the teachers went today, and then another group is going on Thursday. And last Friday, the kindergartners had grandparent day as well. For the intermediate, I couldn't find anything as well.
For the middle school, this month, middle schoolers are exploring advocacy, the art of speaking up for yourself and standing up for others. They are focusing on being assertive rather than aggressive, being direct, stating clearly, firmly, and politely what their needs are, asking questions, taking time to listen to others, respecting their points of views, and acknowledging their own mistakes. For the high school, there's a math jazz concert, the 24th, the 7th, 8th, Jazz Lab, and the Jazz 1. They will all perform there. And there's, I remember correctly, there's a big combined piece at the end. It's also prom next Saturday. The high school choir concert is May 4th. FFA went to state today and yesterday. They're coming back tomorrow. Speech has state this Saturday. Thursday, the 23rd, it's a student variety showcase. It's in the PAC, that's at 6 p.m. There's a variety of talent from singing, guitar, comedy, and even a unique vocal performance.
Ooh.
And something that is coming up for the all-inclusive playground is the walk, run, and roll, which is basically an activity where anyone of any age is able to. I think it starts at the primary school and ends at the primary school. So the entry fee is $25, and every donation is towards the all-inclusive playground.
It starts at the primary, ends at the intermediate, and then you have till May 1st to sign up to get your t-shirt, which obviously everybody wants the merch, so sign up.
Obviously. Thank you very much. Superintendent's report. Pat?
Yeah, just a few things here, I guess. Start out with, it is the spring of the year, which means there's a lot of energy in the buildings. I love getting out to the buildings, but, I'm sure those that are teaching and trying to keep the lid on the buildings a little tougher for them, but I enjoy it. Kids are fun to see and being out and about. We had pretty much in the last 2 weeks, our regular kind of scheduled meetings, our executive meeting, we're meeting, the admin team's meeting. We're really doing a lot of planning for next year and making sure that we're sticking to a budget and having the right people in the right places and so on. So a lot of that work's happening right now. Have our weekly referendum check-in with our communication team, and the last couple of weeks we've been working a lot on the Tiger Roar referendum edition. I think some of those have hit the mailboxes already, so hopefully that's getting out there. There's a lot of detailed information about the referendum, so our voters are getting that. Had our agenda planning, which is a normal meeting for us before the board meetings. Couple of additional kind of meetings, our Rum River executive and governance meetings. Our superintendent group meets first, and then all the same information goes to the governance, and I know Eric around that. And we talk about kind of the issues that are going on at Rum River, if anything's happening. They do have a ribbon cutting or groundbreaking, I should say, groundbreaking ceremony May 7th, we think.
Yeah, I think it's the seventh.
Yeah, so I think that's at 4 o'clock up in Malacca, so they are building a level 4 program up there, should be good. Also another kind of additional meeting is ECMEC, we meet there. It's kind of interesting because they service, I don't know, 50 or 60 schools in the state, and we're all a member of their board, so it's kind of a huge board, and we vote on things, so. All that's good to, to be at those meetings, so we know what's going on with that. And for those that don't know, ECMEC is our consortium that handles all of our computers work, and they maintain our servers, that maintain a lot of our information, so they're important to us. Also, I think since our last meeting, the next day afterwards, Jason and I and Jessica were able to have an interview with our last 2 finalists of our intermediate school principal, and we were able to do the reference checks and call around, and we have one on the personnel tonight, and that's Blake Karras, and Blake will be joining us here July 1. He comes from Madawaska as a principal, and really rose to the top of a really, really good pool of candidates, so pretty excited to have him join us in the school district, and you'll get to meet him when he joins us. Other things that happened, we had the Baldwin open house for the referendum. We also had our open house here for the referendum. Baldwin, we had some really good questions. Here we had one gentleman that came in with good questions, so that was good to be able to, we want to give those opportunities to our voters to be able to ask these questions. Did one presentation with the civic referendum presentation with the civic betterment group in town. I don't know if you've ever met them, but that was such a pleasure for me to meet them. And this group started, it's the longest civic group in our community. 1914, they were established. A lot of the ladies in there, mainly ladies that are in retirement that are in it, and fantastic people that care about our community. So it's really fun to meet them, and had a really good presentation with them. Finished up, I have one more to finish up my chamber leadership series. So we had that this last week, and then also with the student events that I was at. 6th grade choir was really good last week. Then we had this middle school musical. They did a wonderful job. Been able to get out to watch some of the athletes, tennis and track. We got great track competitors. One might be in this room, but a lot of good things happening there. But overall, our spring sports are off and running, doing well. And then we had 6th grade band signed up last night, so that was good to see that. Had a good turnout for that too. And then it's kind of a specialized meeting, but we've been talking a lot about how we want to move forward with our Spanish immersion program, and really did a lot of work here in the last 4 to 5 months, and we're in a really good spot right now. I met with the entire Spanish immersion team, and everybody feels really good where we're at, and we're at the right size, right students, right. And then I had my Lions meeting last night. Other than that, just some of the reports from the students. FFA was at state. We know that robotics and archery state. Now some are on the worlds and nationals, and then we had a couple speech competitors that made it to are going to state. So our kids continue to perform well. So I want to congratulate them. So that's my report.
Great, thank you. We will move on to item number 7, approve the agenda. With the note that we did actually move the referendum presentation up right after our roll call, so. Motion's been made by Eric Minks. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Eric Stramberg. Any comments or questions on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, agenda is approved. Discuss and act on previous board meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve those minutes as presented? Motion's been made by, was that
Melissa.
Melissa? Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Any comments or questions on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. Item number 9, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Eric Stramberg. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jen. Any comments or questions on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, consent agenda is approved. Item number 10, resolution for the acceptance of gifts. Is there a motion to approve that as presented?
I move to accept the following donations or gifts as identified in the resolution as presented.
All right. There's been a motion made by Melissa. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dawn. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, those gifts are approved. We will go to item, the staff, the only information item now is the staffing adjustments.
Hi, we're going to have our staffing adjustments here tonight, but because of some internal work that we needed to do, we will have that all at the next board meeting.
Okay.
Jason and Pat have been meeting with the high school. No, all principals, not just the high school, all principals, regarding our right sizing. Finance tonight, we went through quite a bit of it, and I'll let Jason and Pat.
Yeah.
Comments.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'd say is to Michelle's point, as you look at any year, you always look at how many students are at each grade level, and then, you know, the board, and I know Jason always shows this to me, he's probably the one to help create it, but it's, you have the parameters for how what you should have for each section at each grade level. So we look at those parameters, make sure that we're in those parameters, and if we're not, we have to make adjustments to make sure that our section numbers are meet and divide out so that we get inside that parameter for what the class size should be. And what we've done is worked pretty diligent with our principals to make sure that that's all lined up and that all of our section numbers will give us the right class size, if you will, so it meets inside the parameters for each one. We'll have, like Michelle said, there's more work to be done, because there's people we need to notify and talk to about what that means for them. And until we have that information, we want to make sure that we just wait and put a pause on that for the board.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is, we've looked at our class sizes over the last few years, and our 5th through 12th grade, we're holding, in those 230s, 220 range. Unfortunately, with our first through, or K through 4th grade, we're 219, 204, 195, 181, and we're kind of projecting about 170 kindergartners this fall. So our seat-based programming the enrollment is declining, whether that's because people are having less children, that could be the case, or maybe they're just not moving here yet. But that is obviously a concern that we have, and so when we're looking at our parameters, we're looking at our staffing patterns. As Pat mentioned, we'll have some movement because obviously we'll need less elementary staff, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't impact others across the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So we always look for efficiencies as much as possible, take advantage of retirements that we do have or open positions so that we're keeping as many of our quality staff as possible.
I think a couple things with, this is not a Princeton thing, this is a statewide and even a national thing. The enrollments of schools are going down, and it's, there's a couple of reasons. There's less kids, and homeschool starting to be a little more popular than it has been in the past, and it keeps growing. So those two things affect public schools. So then we have to react to make sure that we stick within our budget constraints, because all those decisions affect budget. And we know that's important for us to be fiscally responsible to our residents of the community.
All right, so stay tuned until our next meeting in May, our first meeting in May. All right, so we have a few action items tonight. The first one is the notice of scan system. That's, I'm assuming, for voting.
It is, yeah. I don't know if you do that, but that's.
Yes, we test the machines in here prior to sending them out to the voting sites.
Oh, okay.
So the county actually will come here, I believe it's on my calendar for Wednesday the sixth. And, we will actually run test ballots for them to make sure that they are working correctly.
So the county tests the machines for
With-
us?
Yeah, they come here.
Yep.
And our
Verify
head
it.
judges go through that with them.
Okay, good, okay. So we have, is there a motion to approve then, to accept the notice of testing the optical scan system for the special election as presented?
So,
Motion's been made by Eric Minks, is there a second? Second by Jen, any comments or questions on that?
I didn't notice this earlier, but the document is blank. What day did you say it was?
It's on my calendar, I believe, for that Wednesday prior.
So,
Yes.
Wednesday, May 6th.
Wednesday, May 6th.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't catch that earlier.
Oh, look, I'm sure it's on my clipboard here, so we'll make sure that's on there, so, all right. Any other questions or comments on that? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion is approved. Notice of exact counting center.
So we have to put, this is the notice that indicates that the ballots will be counted at Baldwin, the city of Baldwin, and at Princeton Depot, and early voting will be counted here at the district center. Anybody who would like can come and watch the
Oh, sure.
counting, should they so choose.
Okay. All right, so is there a motion to accept the notice of exact counting center for the May 12th, 2026 special election as presented?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Scott, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Don. Any comments or questions on that one? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that is approved, thank you. Our last action item is Rum River Special Ed Co-op Joint Powers Agreement. So this is a new one.
Yeah, this is a new one that, Rum River, Legal has advised them that you need to have a new joint power agreement because, they are, looking at bringing associate members into Rum River.
Oh,
So we have our governance made, so all of us who have voting powers and so on are the Rum River Consortium, but when you bring an associate, they get some rights, but they don't get voting rights, and they want to make sure that's clarified in this.
in
joint
the
agreement.
agreement, okay.
And right now, St. Francis would like to be an associate. Usually what happens with associate, it's almost like a trial period. Do you work for us? Do we work in? Does it fit well? Does it not fit well? And then they could become a full member.
Well, they used to be part of the Rum River,
St. Francis used to way back.
yeah,
Oh,
and then
okay.
I think they went out on their own.
Yeah, they did. It sounded like they went independent.
For
Yeah.
very long.
Yeah.
No,
So it sounds like they want back in, but Rum River's using this associate model to test drive them.
yeah,
And then the legal says you have to have that in your joint powers. And so all the other Rum River districts need to vote that at their board level.
Okay,
This is the new joint powers agreement.
okay.
And
Good
the
for
language
adding
is all about the
associate.
associate. That's the only changes.
Oh, okay. All right, any questions at all on that? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to accept the amended and restated joint powers agreement with Rum River Special Ed Cooperative as presented.
So moved.
Motion's made by Melissa, is there a second?
so
Second by Eric Minks. Any comments or questions on that? All right, all in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, that agreement is approved. We have no additions to the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Don, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Opposed?